Oh, what is the MCs, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 154. Toronto Maple Leaf legend Paul Ranger of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all the major news and what's happenings around the league, mainly focused in on the Leafs and Flames. Somehow that's my favorite teams, but we'll be discussing all 32 teams on this podcast. And we have finally made it, folks. Stanley Cup Finals are right around the corner. They're kicking off on Wednesday, and we got ourselves a rematch. Personally, I love myself a good rematch. Detroit and Pittsburgh in 2008, 2009. That was some epic shit, and I think we are due for an epic final right here. We better be, because this playoff has been overall a disappointment. We'll talk about that a little bit more once we get to Dallas and Carolina. But let's get into it, y'all. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and let's talk about this finals matchup. You got in the East, the Florida Panthers, that are definitely a very clean and not dirty team at all, versus the Western Edmonton Oilers with Connor McJesus and Draisaitl and the boys. All right. So last year it was almost a sweep, and then it almost became a miracle, and then it wasn't. So if you didn't watch it last year, Florida came out swinging. They go up 3-0 in the series. It is over until it very much isn't over, where McDavid goes off, Oilers go off, they rattle off 3 straight wins, and then we get to the do-or-die Game 7, and it's the Florida Panthers able to get back on track and get that final win, and boom, the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup. And man, this is the Panthers' 3rd straight visit to the finals. This is incredible, and especially how they have gone through this playoff. They walked through Tampa Bay, where I thought Tampa Bay was going to stop them dead. Like, the way that Tampa looked, they looked like old school Tampa. Florida coming in whimpering, but should have known better, and Tampa should have known better. The Panthers were playing a little bit of possum, because that playoff team, the playoff cat, emerges, and the Panthers just walk through the Tampa Bay Lightning, and in pretty shocking fashion. I did not expect that series to go in 5. I was expecting a Tampa Bay win in 7, I think I had it, and no. So that was an early sign that, the Panthers are still the Panthers. They are not really showing a lot of signs of wear and tear from the previous 2 deep playoff runs. This team seemingly is getting better. They, listening to interviews, I just listened to the interview with Sam Reinhart on Spit and Chicklets, and it sounds like the team, not only have they bought into the Maurice system, but they've bought into the playoff system, and they're addicted to it by the sound of it. They don't want to go home early. They don't want the season to end. They love getting ready for playoff hockey. I guess they like banging and crashing in the boards and stuff like that, but this is their favorite kind of hockey, and this is the kind of hockey that the playoff or the Florida Panthers play. They play playoff hockey. It's their bread and butter. And we're seeing it, man. We're seeing it. This team is built for playoffs. And it's not that they were a bad regular season team by any means. It's just that they're not going to dominate the regular season, because this team knows it's got a different mission. And the mission is win the Stanley Cup. And, we'll get through the regular season. We're just kind of almost in like zombie mode for the Florida Panthers. Like, all right, we know what we need to do here. Yawn, boring. All right, we'll get through this, and we just can't wait for playoffs, and they're foaming at the mouth. They almost seem bored this year, honestly, that, just waiting for... Same thing with the Leafs. The Leafs this regular season was very, very boring for me, because I knew this team was good enough for playoffs, and the whole outcome of the season is going to rely on the ending of their playoff run, and the regular season's not going to play any factor into it unless something drastically went wrong and they missed playoffs, but that didn't happen. So Florida kind of in the same boat. Like, they have been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, so I think the fan base and the organization is very confident in this team, and they should be, man. I mean, this was a very impressive run, like I said. Yes, people are looking at, the Toronto Maple Leafs took them to 7. They got close. They got close. Not really. I mean, the Leafs played 3 good games. The 3 good games that they played, they won. But the outlier was the 4 games that they lost. They got fucking murdered, except for game 3 was close. It was a game of bounces, and that will definitely haunt Leaf Nation for a long time, because it's not a guaranteed, but if the Leafs went up 3-0, it's a very daunting task to do a reverse sweep, even on a team as fragile as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wouldn't have been easy. So, it doesn't mean anything to me as a Leaf fan. Like, oh, hey, how many times have the Leafs now lost to the inevitable Stanley Cup champions? Not saying that Florida's winning this cup, but it's happened a lot of times where the Leafs lose to the team that goes to the finals, wins the finals, blah, 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 blah. Not all the time, though. Columbus didn't go very far after that, but don't matter. But Florida, man, I am immensely impressed. They walked through Carolina like it was... it's their duty to just beat the shit out of Carolina and make them feel really bad about themselves, and we'll get to Carolina in a moment. But Florida, this team. So going into this one, I mean, the team looks very ready. I'm excited for this final matchup because I think we get to skip the feeling out process. I think game 1's gonna be fucking crazy, and I think it's definitely a benefit this time around that Edmonton gets to start at home. Last year, they started in Florida, and Edmonton got off to a slow start, and they cannot afford that this season. I think it's safe to say they will not come out the way that they did last season, where it looked really bad, man. Like, I was so just the wind taken out of my sails for that series when they went down 3-0. Like, oh, what a disappointment, but They inevitably came back, and that's going to be a thing, like it was last year, was the travel between these two cities. Florida and Edmonton are not close to each other, so that was kind of the thing. Oh, we got to fly back to Florida. We're going to fly back to Edmonton, and it's a hell of a flight. I know it because, I've never taken it, never been on a plane, and I don't know if I ever will. I'm terrified, but Elliot Friedman, all them on 32 podcasts, they talk about dreading that travel, but it's going to be a great final. I'm hoping anyway, because round 3 was crap. Round 1 was the whole freaking playoffs has been a letdown for me, honestly. And I don't think I'm alone from hearing other people on podcasts and stuff. It doesn't sound like it's been rather underwhelming, man. So with this finals, I hope we get to skip the feeling out process. These teams are aware of each other. They got very familiar with each other last season. I'm just, the thing that devastates me the most is the Zach Hyman injury. I am so sad that he is not going to be here battling in the finals. I think he's arguably the most deserving on the Edmonton team to be here in the finals. He is just slamming his body into anything with a heartbeat. He is throwing so many big hits. He is just the heart and soul of the Edmonton Oilers, the battler, just a warrior is Zach Hyman, and it's devastating that he's not going to be there. I know there's some people saying that, if they get to Game 6 or something. No, he just had surgery. He's not playing. He's done. Sadly, he's done, which really fucking sucks for this series, because Hyman is... he's needed in this series if you're going up against the Florida Panthers. You know their game plan. They're going to hammer that D. They're going to hammer the Edmonton Oilers and hopefully wear them out enough that by the time they get to Game 6 or 7, if need be, there won't be anything left of the Edmonton Oilers D-core. They're going to be battered and bruised and just defeated and worn out. That's the mantra of the Florida Panthers. And you gotta expect there's gonna be a little sneaky, a little sneaky elbow thrown in there, a little sneaky punch or 2 or 17 or whatever, and officiating in this one's gonna be a fucking nightmare. I really don't want to... Sadly, it's gonna play a factor in this series, which is absolutely devastating. I believe it will play an edge in the edge on the side of the Florida Panthers, because I think the whistles they're gonna be used less. Then it's just, that's how it goes, man. The referees want to have less to do with the series, which means they're going to not do their jobs and call things that are blatantly penalties right in front of them. So get ready for that. You're going to see punches right in front of the referees and elbows and so on and so forth. The only things that are going to get called in this are, like, you cannot miss it, trips, puck over the glass or something like that. Even then, they're going to do everything in their power to make it, oh no, it deflected, it touched something, So you got to expect there's going to be, at least I'm expecting, not that very many penalties, which is going to make the special teams very, very important. And Edmonton is hoping that power play is going to be clicking in this series, and they're going to need it to be. And we'll see, man. Like, it's all up in the air right now. You can't really take, you got statistics, but it's a new series, new matchups, so we're going to just have to go in and see what happens game one. I'm expecting game one to be a gong show. These teams have been resting for, it's been a while, right? It's been a while since we've had some hockey. I'm ready for it, baby. I can't wait for tomorrow. But we'll see, man. I don't know if that's going to make it a sloppier game. It could make it, to the benefit. Now, I hope it's not a sloppy game that, they're not making crisp passes. They can't really get anything generated. I hope it's just maybe they just let the gloves off a little bit and maybe push a little more offense than normal, and we get a 6-5 game or a 5-4 game in overtime. That would be a great way to kick off this series. I'm just begging that it's competitive. Please be competitive, and, let's have lead changes. Let's get a very exciting finals, man. Please, to just kind of save what has been a very disappointing playoffs for myself personally. So let's try and get to the question and the answer here. Who do I think is going to win this series? I mean, I think it's going to come down to, obviously, the usual stuff. I think goaltending is going to be absolutely huge. What version of Stuart Skinner are you going to get in this series? Are you going to get the strutting into the arena, super high confidence Stuart Skinner that's been putting down shutouts, or are you getting the 6 goals against, just can't stop a beach ball Stuart Skinner? I think at this point, I'm gonna lean to the side that Stuart Skinner's gonna play good. I don't know. It's tough, man. Goalies, especially Stuart Skinner, he is so hot and cold. He is, and they even talked about this all the way back to his junior career, where he had very similar situations in the playoffs in his juniors and AHL or whatever the heck, where he would let in 6, and then the next game he rattles off 3 straight shutouts. You're like, what the fuck, man? So this guy he's all over the map, but he's been here before, right? And we'll see, man. We'll see. He's got to be able to dial it in. He can't go in and just get lit up in the first period or something, and then Edmonton gets dejected, and then you got the question, fuck, do we switch it up at this point? Is there a possibility you see Picard back in the net in the finals? I think the chances are very low. At this point, Stuart Skinner's gotten them, since he lost the net and Picard got hurt, Stuart Skinner's gained back his net, and he's doing everything in his power to not let it go. I don't think you'll see a goaltender change unless something bad happens, an injury or something like that, or if he truly does get lit up 2 straight games and he lets in 6 back-to-back on home ice or something, you might need to go to Picard, but that's not very good either, is it? So, no offense, even though Picard's got the 4-0, 6-0 record or something, he hasn't been defeated, but it's not like he's playing amazingly or anything. And then the Edmonton defense. You got Ekholm is back now, I do believe. And that's huge. That's huge. You're going to have to continue to get these incredible performances from the blue line. The Stetchers, the Ekholms, the Darnell nurses. And you got to get them fucking all together, man. You can't be fucking around. Or maybe they're going to be fucking around. I really don't know what the hell I'm going to get out of this series. It's going to be very, very defensive, or it's going to be crazy, and I'm hoping that it's crazy. Obviously, it's a lot more fun for us, the fans, to watch crazy back and forth hockey. But I'm expecting it to be very physical, and it's going to be mean, man. These teams don't like each other, not at all, and that's great. That's great for us. It's only going to get worse. You're going to have. We'll see what happens with Matthew Tkachuk. He played pretty good against Carolina. I still don't think he's awake yet, I think if we're going to see Matthew Tkachuk fully awakened, he's going to do it he was saving it for the finals. He's obviously dealing with something. He's still not playing the amount of minutes you would normally see out of Tkachuk. Even throughout the Carolina series, he had one game where it was 19 minutes, but he's still averaging around 15, 16 minutes, which is below what you would expect out of him, especially in the playoffs. usually see him up in the 20s, maybe near 25 minutes. And so I'm hoping we'll see an awakened Matthew Tkachuk in this series. Sam Reinhart and Barkov are going to have their hands full defensively, we'll see what matchup they're going to get. Are you going to be matched up on the McDavid line? Is McDavid Draisaitl going to be together? I think the better option is to try and separate them and try and get 3 lines going. If you can get Nugent Hopkins on that 3rd line going, and that's the big thing with Florida as well. Like, same thing with Edmonton. They're going to have their hands full defensively. Edmonton's got to try and stop Barkov, and that deadly 3rd line, that is going to be a big question mark for the Edmonton Oilers. Are they going to have an answer for that Brad Marchand, Lundell, Luosterainen line that has been just cutting through the playoffs like butter through every team? They dominated the Leafs. They're dominating every team because there's not a lot of teams that are deep enough or there's not a lot of answers to that 3rd line. That 3rd line is a first line on a lot of teams, and it's a very underrated line. Now, aside from Brad Marchand, Lundell is he's Barkov light. He is a fantastic two-way defensive centerman. Luosterainen, personally, I don't know a lot about the guy either. All I can tell you is that homie is killing it right now on that line. Brad Marchand looks as good as he ever has been, which, again, fucking Florida playing possum a little bit. Brad Marchand playing possum. Like, he looked like damaged. Like, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to get it done here when he first showed up to Florida, but bam, he gets into the fucking playoff format and he fits in just like a glove. And if I'm Brad Marchand, bro, it's kind of tough, right? Because Brad has, throughout his entire career, taken a discount. He has never made the amount of money that he's been worth. And sadly, it looks like he may try and get that value in his last couple of seasons where he's going to be 38 years old. I'm hearing that he could be getting $8 million, which is, I believe that's going to be the most he's ever made. And I would not be shocked in the most horrific world, let's say the Toronto Maple Leafs sign Brad Marchand to 8 years. I know how that's going to go down. Boom, Brad Marchand he takes a huge step back, loses all of his referee powers, loses all of his Colin Campbell powers, because obviously Colin Campbell's not with the Toronto Maple Leafs, so Brad Marchand's going to have 70 fucking suspensions. He's going to be the most penalized player ever in NHL history, and that's how that's going to go. So my answer to that is no. I don't want Brad Marchand to be a Toronto Maple Leaf because I know his powers will be nullified. He will not be able to be Brad Marchand if he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. And that kind of goes the same with Sam Bennett. Why pay Sam Bennett $10 million to be not Sam Bennett for the Toronto Maple Leafs? He can be Sam Bennett somewhere else, but you're not allowed to be that Sam Bennett in Toronto. We just know this. We've seen it with Kadri. We've seen it with Michael Bunting, and whoever else decides, hey, I'm pretty good at getting penalty calls over here. No, not in Toronto. Doesn't happen for very long anyway. Okay, so obviously goaltending, specialty teams, and who's going to have the better shutdown line is I don't know if you can shut down McDavid, man. Shutting down McDavid kind of looks more like, all right, he's only getting like 1 point a game instead of like 2 or 3. That's kind of what I'm seeing shutting down McDavid is going to look like. I don't think there's any stopping him. Man. There's a clear history of superstar generational talents getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, losing, and then returning the next year and then taking it all home. We saw it with Wayne Gretzky back in the day against the Islanders, got humbled back in the day, and then they came back and destroyed the Islanders, and boom, the Oilers dynasty begins. We could see the same thing. Well, we saw it with Crosby. Crosby, the same thing. Goes up against the Detroit Red Wings in the finals, gets humbled. They come back and almost get humbled again. They go down 2-0. They come back. They go down 3-2. They come back and win it in 7. And Crosby gets his Stanley Cup. We can't say the same thing for Ovechkin. He only made it to the finals once. He got the job done. And now there's McDavid. Last year he made it. He didn't get the job done. We got to see that incredible blow-up in the Amazon series where he's like, wake the fuck up, dig in, and all that crap. You got to imagine. And, at the end of that, devastating loss. I think it was Hyman that stepped up and said, we're going to be back. We will be back here. And here they are. They know the mission. There's a lot of guys that have returned from that team. Janmark, the janitor, fucking Connor Brown, obviously the big boys, Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl, all that. And Hyman's going to be there supporting them emotionally, which, is great. It'd be a lot better if he was. I'm so sad that he's not there. If they win, man, I hope that guy gets the cup like after Draisaitl. He is. I love that man so much. Anyway, and I'm also of the mind that it's very. I don't think we've seen it where a team has come back, the same two teams back-to-back finals, and the same team winning. Like it's going to be very difficult for Florida to win it again. Edmonton is more aware this time. They're gonna want it more, man. I just think naturally they're gonna want it more than Florida. Florida's won theirs. Edmonton has. I'm not saying that Florida doesn't want it. I just think Edmonton's gonna want it that much more. They've you do not want to go through fucking making it to the finals, losing in 7, and then getting back there and imagine Edmonton losing it again. Then that is going to unlock a whole bunch of different questioning. What is the future of Connor McDavid? If Edmonton doesn't win this finals, does that drastically change the outlook of Connor McDavid's future? That's definitely a huge question, man. There's two mindsets of that. If he doesn't get it done this season, maybe that's a better thing to keep McDavid here because he never got the job done. Maybe he's committed. He's like, you know what? I was drafted here. I said I'm going to get a freaking cup in this city, and we've been so close. I'm not leaving yet. So maybe McDavid doubles down, and boom, he's an Oiler for life. Draisaitl too. Why not? He's already locked in anyway, so he's pretty much already locked in. So why not, man? The team's so freaking close. I can see that, but then obviously, let's say Edmonton gets fucking dominated. They lose in 5, and McDavid is like, yo, what the fuck? And then Toronto's starting to change some things, and they're looking a lot smarter. And then maybe, with Marner gone, Tavares gone, McDavid's contract's coming to an end after this next season, I do believe. Toronto can move some stuff. Maybe they're able to court Connor McDavid and be like, hey, man, we need you. We need that killer instinct. Maybe they move off of Matthews and they send Matthews to Edmonton. We do a fucking superstar swap. And who knows, but it could definitely, who knows, a win or a loss here, I think could potentially lead to Connor McDavid maybe ending up in Toronto. Let me explain. So, if Edmonton wins the cup, let's say they win it this year, they double back, they go back to the finals next season, and they repeat. Boom, 2 Stanley Cups for Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Well, let's pack it up. I did my thing. I'm going to go to Toronto now, and I'm going to try and help them do the thing and become the most legendary legend of all time and solidify my career as arguably as good as Wayne Gretzky. Let's say McDavid wins those 2 cups, goes to Toronto, continues to be a damn near 2-point per game player, doing the thing in his home country, in his hometown, the freaking Toronto Maple Leafs, and he does the thing. He wins the cup for Toronto. Fuck it, wins 2. He ends his career with 4 or 5 Stanley Cups. Then maybe you could make the argument that this guy's career was as crazy as freaking Wayne Gretzky's. So that could happen. And same thing, if they win back-to-back cups, why would Connor McDavid leave, right? Oh, I have such a good thing here. We got a dynasty going. I'm an Oiler for life. So there's definitely a huge butterfly effect situation, I think, that could come out of this series. And it can go the same way with Florida. I know everyone's thinking that Sam Bennett is out the door, but what if they repeat back-to-back Stanley Cup champions? And they're like, hey, Sam, we can keep you here. We're going to have to give you a little bit less money, but no taxes, beautiful place to live. You love this team. We love you. Why not stay? Do it's a good thing. Do what Sam Reinhart did. Yeah, he could have made a lot more money on free agency. He could have done the thing, but he locked in long-term, good money. It's not like he's not making any money. He's making damn good money, tax-free, in Florida. What's not to love? And the team rules right now. It is just a perfect situation going on right now in Florida. So I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Bennett, if they you've been to the Cup final 3 years in a row. The only thing that, with Bennett of his mindset would be like, you know what? I did the thing. I played some hard fucking years. You know what? I'm good to go maybe to a team that isn't so competitive all the time and make $10-11 million and fuck it, do a Huberdeau thing where you make a shitload of money, but you're just never going to live up to that contract. And especially, imagine if Bennett signs somewhere for the $10 million, 7 years, and he goes to a team that ends up never making it to the playoffs, and then you never get to have that benefit of what you signed Bennett for. He is a playoff machine. And if he signs to a team that never makes the playoffs, that would be devastating. So it's going to be very interesting, this finals. Now, I have been avoiding the answer for a long time. Who do I have winning the Stanley Cup? My heart says I want to root for Edmonton. My brain is telling me Florida is going to win this series because I really think the Zach Hyman thing is going to hurt them, but I'm picking Edmonton. I think just the drive is going to be that much more for them this year to win that cup. I don't think not winning is an option for this team this year. I think it's do or die, and these guys are going to put everything out there. I think, like, from what you saw of that McDavid blow up on Amazon or whatever, is that the whole team didn't buy in. The whole team wasn't given 100%, and I don't think that'll be an issue this year. I think the team will be ready this time, and everyone's going to be giving it their all, and they have to. They know this time. That is a lesson learned last year, a very hard lesson. Sometimes you need that hard lesson. Stevie Y got that lesson. Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, all these guys have had those hard playoff lessons where you're like, you get humbled and you're like, I did not realize I needed to go another gear, and you find that gear. And I think Edmonton knows where that gear is. Look at Florida. They are all over that gear. They know exactly when to turn that gear on, when to not turn that. They are the masters of it. They are absolutely incredible. And speaking of masters, not going on a golf tangent, but I gotta talk about the master, Paul Maurice. This fucking guy. All right, I think I'll move off of the finals. I'm picking Edmonton in 7. That's where I'm going. I want it to go 7. It better go 7, and it better be close. I want 5 overtimes. I want it to be an amazing series, and we fucking deserve it because that third round stunk, absolutely stunk. Even Edmonton, Dallas stunk, and I thought that was going to be amazing. But let's go to Paul Maurice and the controversy between the handshake line in Carolina. Like, what the fuck was going on with that? Again, I think it's just Paul Maurice creating headlines, creating buzz around him to avoid buzz or just get the heat away from his team. Let them go on the beach, have their days off, and just enjoy it. Here, guys, I'm going to create this controversy. I'm going to have all cameras, microphones in my face, and I know what I'm doing. I am the wordsmith master, and I will fucking get these guys all wrapped up over nothing. Now, I don't think there's anything to be had of this handshake line. I will just say that I am completely fine with coaches and assistant coaches being a part of the handshake line. They are on the bench. They are part of the team. In my eyes, I love that, actually. I love when you see the head coach shaking hands with the captain. There's that mutual respect. Like, fuck yeah. I love that. I think that's great. I don't see any problem whatsoever with it. I do understand what Maurice is trying to get at here. Like, it's the players' moment. Let's give it to them. But, like, what? It's a team. It's a team moment. It's a team moment. The team won. You guys are a part of the team. And I think, like, whenever there's an opportunity to let the trainers or anyone that doesn't get enough credit on the bench, the medical staff, let them all go out there. I don't go touch the fucking cup. I don't care. You guys don't get enough praise. You're the unsung heroes of this team. Get out there, shake some fucking hands. Go shake Sam Reinhart's hand. I don't give a shit. Get out there. And it's really unfortunate that Paul Maurice decided to choose and pick on poor Carolina here. Like, they had a normal handshake line in Tampa. They had a normal handshake line in Toronto because Craig Berube would fucking kill Maurice if he tried that shit on him. And then he just decides, I'm going to do this in Carolina. And, like, okay, whatever, man. So that, I don't think there's anything to it. I think it's just Maurice doing Maurice things and taking all the spotlight off of his team to let his team just fucking relax, not worry about it, not bring up these crazy questions like, oh, hey, Bennett, are you going to be here next year? Like, do you know, don't put shit in his head. Just let him focus on the finals right now. And I think that's what Maurice does best. He takes the heat off of his team. Whenever there's a controversy, he will step right in front of it. He will take all the heat, and he can deflect it better than anybody else in the world, man. He is amazing at it. He can just wordsmith his way out of any situation. It's great. And I know some people are getting Paul Maurice fatigue. Oh, well, I mean, the dude keeps winning, so he's going to be here, and I'm fine with it. I would much rather have a guy that's at least semi-entertaining, trying to have some fun with it up there, instead of giving us the same fucking throwing up the exact, oh, we got to get pucks in deep, we got to play hard on the boards, and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to fucking hear that over and over again. I want to see this guy just fucking mentally assassinate an organization, and it's quite entertaining, you know? That's what he does, so I'm fine with him doing that. So, to the side of Carolina, oh boy, I mean, you kind of got dominated again by Florida. It didn't look good, man. They really neutralized pretty much everything that Carolina was, man. They completely removed Svechnikov from that series. They just mentally pretzeled him that he just was not a factor at all in the series. Florida just with Carolina. And no, I didn't watch any of the games because why the fuck would I? I don't want to watch those games. But it's Carolina. Where they go from here, I kind of discussed it, that this year wasn't like an all chips in season. It could have been. It could have been if they kept ranting in and they like locked them up and everything, then things would be a little bit different. But the fact of the matter is, Carolina has like a lot of cap space. They have like room. They have things that they can do next year. Yes, they have some contracts that they're going to have to sign, but they have currently $28 million in cap space. So, you know, there's worse places to be. They have their best players locked into really, really nice contracts, and they're in a great situation age-wise. Aho is 27, Svechnikov's 25, Seth Jarvis is 23 years old, and Sebastian Aho under 10, Svechnikov under 8, Seth Jarvis under 7.5. The only thing that is not looking good on this team right now is the Jesperi Kotkaniemi contract. He's 24 years old. They locked him into that big contract for 4.82, and he just has not lived up to that. I can see them doing something with that. Can they move that contract? Could they buy out that contract? Is it worth it to them to buy out that contract? Is the savings going to be worth it? That is something they would probably going to have to look at this season, because he just, I don't know. It was actually that's penalty minutes. Never mind. Total points this season, 78 games, 33 goals. That would have been great. 33 points, 12 goals, 21 assists in 78 games. That does not scream damn near $5 million player to me. He had 27 points the year prior, 43 the year prior to that. And he has not cracked over 50 points. He's barely cracked over 40. He looks like a 30-point player right here. And so that is something they're going to have to try and look at to try and get off of. It's not detrimental to them, but it's definitely hurting them. They could spend that money a lot better. Like, they got Taylor Hall for $3 million. Like, he fit in so good, and he's, you know, we'll see what happens in a full year next season with him, but I think he looked really good in his small stint. They still got Martinook signed. They still got Jordan Staal, William Carrier. They will have to try and sign Jackson Blake. He's a restricted, and Logan Stankoven. Both of those guys, I don't think it's going to be major. They could bridge the long-term deal, but they have great long-term, like they're not going to make anywhere near Seth Jarvis or Svechnikov money. Both of those guys are sweetheart deals. So yeah, I am not worried about either of those contracts being very, very expensive. It's just going to be a matter of, is it going to be a long-term contract or is it going to be a kind of a contract? And then on defense, You got Slavin. He's unbelievable. Sean Walker. Shane Gostisbehere, like, you might want to try and find some more size on that blue line would be better. Some snarl, some nastiness would be really good and same thing with their offense as well. They could use some size and some snarl for sure. They could use some more goal scoring, can't we all? But I'm looking at that D-core. It needs some work. I mean, Dmitry Orlov, Brett Burns need contracts. Is Brett Burns done? He's 40 years old. Dmitry Orlov hasn't really been a good Carolina Hurricane. I can see them just kind of moving off of him. They need some help on the blue line now, which is crazy because they had one of the strongest, if not the strongest, blue line for so long. Now, they do have younger guys that could make an impact on the team next year. Those names elude me, but right now you're looking at a D-core of Jalen Chatfield, Shane Gostisbehere, Walker, and Slavin. And then you got Scott Morrow and Alexander Nikishin, but those two are restricted free agents. Again, don't think those contracts are going to be anything crazy. It's more about the term that they're going to be worried about. And then goaltending, that's another one, right? So they extended Freddie Anderson, and then they have Peter Kochetkov. They're both under $2 million for Kochetkov, just under $3 million for Anderson. You know there's going to be injuries there, so they're probably going to need another goaltender. But Carolina's still in a good spot, but you know they need to take a big swing. And is that big swing Mitch Marner? I know they're interested. The Leafs tried to trade him to Carolina. Marner didn't want it, but I think Marner would fit into that system. He's already obviously a very good two-way forward. He would be wicked on their power play penalty kill. But that does not help the size issue or even their playoff scoring woes, because we've seen it in Toronto. Marner can't score in the playoffs when it matters, and he's not a big physical presence whatsoever. He is not going to bring that, and I think Marner kind of falls into that for Carolina. It's like, we already kind of have this. Yeah, they don't have a super-duper star, but I don't think Marner would come in and be that 100-plus point player playing in that system. I think, even though Marner did put up 100 points in the Craig Berube system, which is, it's a more defensively minded system, so that does bode well that he could translate pretty good to a Carolina system and still be able to put up big points. And who knows, that could really bring up Svechnikov's numbers, Jarvis, Aho, if it's a really good fit. And Carolina knows that now, that they got to do much better at making sure that these players are going to fit into that system. They did well with Stankoven and Taylor Hall. So is Marner a fit? I think they think so, because they've tried it. It just didn't happen. So I could see a guy like Marner going to Carolina. I hope not, because I don't want him anywhere in the East. I hope he goes west. But we know that Carolina's looking for a big move. They were trying them this year. They're going to try another big thing this year. The thing is, if they're not going to get Marner or something, they might have to wait till next offseason to try and score a super-duper star again, because there's a lot available that season, but a lot of them are going to get re-signed. So I don't know which ones will be available, but free agencies for 2026 is going to be cray-cray. So there is that, but I think the Carolina Hurricanes are still in good shape. It's just, is that satisfying enough for Carolina Hurricanes fans? Because, yeah, they've been good enough for a long time, but they can't get over that hump to get past the third round, make it to the finals, so on and so forth. Do they look like they could do that next year? No, not the team it all depends what big splashes they are able to make. And it's not just free agency. They could potentially make a trade. They have young pieces there. They probably have some draft picks that they can move off of, so we'll see. But I think Carolina's still in good shape, but it's game time now. And next season, like, the moves that they make, they got to be sure, and hopefully they work and they can get Carolina across that hump. But we'll have to just wait and see what they do. All right, let us get to the uglier Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars series. So, obviously, Edmonton wins. They take out Dallas in 5 games, and I did not expect that to go down so fast. Now, obviously, the big story coming out of it is the beef between Pete DeBoer and Jake Ottinger. So, in Game 5 or whatever, Game 5, Ottinger lets in the first 2 shots of the game. Pete DeBoer proceeds to lose his fucking mind. And, I mean, I'm not all that I'm not like all that upset that Ottinger got pulled in that game. You let in the first 2 shots of the game, man. Like, how much more of a fucking deflating situation do you want? I mean, yes, I think they were both breakaways, but I don't know, man. Like, it's a really tough decision. Like, what the fuck do you do? Pete DeBoer said he was trying to wake up his team, but the way that he, like, yelled at Jake Ottinger to get his ass back to the bench and shit, yes, that goes down. And then, worse off, he sewers the goalie after in the interviews. So, that's bad. I don't know what the future of Pete DeBoer is going to be. Like, you would think that he's going to get his ass fired for saying that kind of shit to your goaltender, but then he kind of runs it back. He's like, oh, no one in the world loves Jake Ottinger more than me, and no one's a better man than Jake Ottinger, and I know this. But I just him and made him feel bad and all that. And Jake Ottinger, I'm not calling him like a snowflake or anything, but he seems like a little bit of a sensitive guy where, like, you know, you gotta ease off on your comments on him or he can get into a funk, and like, it seems like things can set him off, but he's also pretty easy to get back on track as well. But I don't know, he kind of seems like a eggshell type goalie. You got to be a little careful around him, what you say, what you do. But yeah, man, like, he calls him out. He's just like, yo, he fucking sucked last year against Edmonton. He's got a track record of fucking sucking against them, and he sucked in this game. And yeah, you know, not good. And I feel bad for Jake Ottinger. Like, yeah, people in hindsight, they're like, oh, well, they lost by, what, they scored 3 goals. So, if they kept Ottinger in, that would have rallied, and then Dallas would have won 3-2, or Ottinger wouldn't have let in another goal. Just let in 2 goals on 2 shots. Who the fuck is to say that he's not going to let in another goal after that? Like, if you said that, oh, he just let in the first shot. No way he let another one. Boom, it's in the back. Now what? No, I honestly would have done the same freaking thing. At that point, you know, me think as Pete DeBoer, I'm like, we're already fucked. This is over. We're down 2-0 already. We're already down 3-1. Like, it's done. So what's the point? Like, you know, and then you could take that and be like, well, then why pull him? Like, if it's over, it's over. Just keep the fucking guy in there and let him drown in it then. If you want to be out there, go ahead. So, yeah, I can see any argument to it. Ottinger got pulled. Absolutely. But I can see why Pete DeBoer wasn't necessarily doing it to pick on Jake Ottinger. Now, it's hard to believe him after he sewers him with all those comments afterward. But yeah, I think obviously he wanted to get a spark out of his team as well. Like, that is common. They pull out the goalie, even when it's not always the goaltender's fault, but they pulled them out to fucking get their team's head out of their ass and get going here. And it kind of worked. I mean, they got a couple of goals, but, you know, maybe it wasn't the right decision to put in the goalie that hasn't played very much. And it's really like Casey DeSmith. He's basically been a practice goalie for them for a few months now throughout the playoff run. Yeah, he's gotten in there for a couple of periods after Ottinger's gotten pulled, but oh well, man. I don't think it would have mattered if he kept him in the game or not. Dallas was losing that game. It was inevitable. Like, I know, in this NHL, like, 2-goal lead is nothing. That can get erased in no time. I understand that, but Edmonton scored 6 goals in that game. They scored, let me see here, they scored 4 goals in the previous game. They scored 6 goals in the one before that. They scored 3, and what I am seeing here, let me show you this. Let me show you how many goals that Dallas scored. Dallas, Game 2, 0 goals. Game 3, 1 goal. Game 4, 1 goal. Game 5, 3 goals. You got fucking 3 goals in 3 games. How can you cannot in any right mind put this on Jake Ottinger? You might be able to, you can't even hang Game 5 on him, not completely. It was a total team defeat. And no, I don't think, if I'm Jake Ottinger, I'd be like, no, it wasn't, not my fucking fault. It was the fact that our team dried up offensively. And you're looking at guys like, I mean, Mikko Rantanen just, I guess he blew his load in Colorado and against Winnipeg, where he just destroyed. Maybe he ran out of gas. Maybe he ran out of support. Like, I remember Ryan Kessler, like, single-handedly taking out the Nashville Predators in that 2011 Cup run for Vancouver. Like, it was all him. And then, like, after that, it's like, all right, well, what more can he just single-handedly got you through round 2. Like, he may not have a lot left in the gas. And it kind of looked like Dallas ran out of gas or the gas was too late. Like Jason Robertson looked like he was just starting to get it going. Too little, too late, right? Like he got off to a terrible start. Yes, he was injured, but is Jason Robertson like, you got to start asking these questions with Dallas. Like, are these the right guys? Like, are these the right guys that you want to commit to? Like, I think Mikko Rantanen has earned himself a spot on the team. He got the big contract, $12 million, 8 years. He performed in the playoffs, not every single series, but he put up his points, man. And now you got to look, I think Rupe Heinz is a great player, but then you got to look at the guys like Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson, and Matt Duchene, even Jamie Benn. Now, there's different situations here. So Jason Robertson, he's got one more year. He's a restricted free agent, and then they're going to have to sign him. So are they going to commit to Jason Robertson? Is he the player that they think is going to get them to a Stanley Cup? I think he's a little bit inconsistent. He kind of reminds me a little bit of William Nylander, where he's just kind of floating out there sometimes, and he's not making impact, and when he's not, he's like completely invisible. He doesn't really bring that physical nature to his game, even though he's big. Like, he's a big guy. He does not throw his body around very much, and he's going to be wanting, probably, you got to be thinking he's going to be asking for around Mikko Rantanen money for the amount of points that he has put up over his career in Dallas, though he has been not performing as well the last few seasons. Let's just take a look here. So, I mean, last 2 years, back-to-back 80 points. 80 points, 82 games, 80 points. But then the years prior to that, his goal scoring has gone down quite a lot. So he went from 41 goals to 46 goals, down to 29 to 35 goals this season. So I think that's looking more like a 35 goal scorer. 80 points is around what Jason Robertson is. I think that 109-point season, that will go down as a career year for him. He looks like a point per game guy, like 82 and 82 kind of thing, 30, 35 goals. That is not a $12 million player to me. And, oh shit, I should have looked at his playoff stats while I was there. Let me see if I can pull those up too, because that obviously that will play a big part into it as well, because you want to show playoff stats. Yes, please. Okay. That is confusing. That is a weird way to do it. Okay, so here we go. He had 6 points in 11 games this one. He's produced in the playoffs. 19 games, 16 points, 19 games, 18 points. So this year looks like the outlier for him, and looks like because of the injury, he did start to ramp up. So he does look like he is kind of a consistent playoff performer. 7 and 6 goals respectively, got 4 in this one. So okay, I could probably go to like 10 million for Jason Robertson. That's, he's an absolute animal in the playoffs, and you're getting more money than Rupe Heinz. You're getting more money than Wyatt Johnson, so that's the other guy. Wyatt Johnson had a fucking rough run in the playoffs. He was a huge minus, and he was not very, very useful to Dallas throughout the whole run. I mean, he had some moments. He is 22 years old, and they just locked him into an $8.4 million contract. Is that something they want to hold on to, or is that something that they could potentially move off of? I don't know. He did not have a very good playoff run. So a lot of unrestricted free agents coming off here. Jamie Benn, he won't be making the $9 million anymore. I imagine he will stay, but it'll be for a major discount. Matt Duchene, I could see them. I mean, he did so little for them in the playoffs. He had a really rough playoff. He's been fantastic for them in the regular season, kind of fills in that Pavelski role, but if they want to keep him, it's going to have to be for cheap, and I don't know at this point if they would want it. That's what he's going to give him in the playoffs. You got Evgeny Dadonov. He's 36. He could be done. They could bring him back really cheap. Michael Granlund, he was a decent addition. I could see them just moving off of him. He's probably going to want too much money. Colin Blackwell, he's just kind of a depth guy. And then they have Maverick Bourque, 23 years old, restricted free agent. That guy, there's some thought that he could potentially be offer sheeted, and Dallas might not be able to match it, or may not want to match the amount of money that someone will send him. So we'll see. Defensively, they're Okay, so you got Thomas Harley. That's going to be a situation. That's where a lot of the extra money is going to go. Right now, they have $5 million in cap space. They're going to have potential bonuses, active, standard. I don't know how to read any of that, but they'll have some money to play with to try and get this done. They got Thomas Harley. He's going to want a nice contract, but how can you justify giving him more than Miro Heiskanen, who's only making $8.45? Like, that is so crazy. I can see Thomas Harley sliding in at like an 8x8. That would be fantastic for Dallas. That'd be amazing. A 1-2 hit of Heiskanen and Harley. That'd be amazing. But their defense needs some work, man. They need some work back there. Esa Lindell's locked in. He's pretty okay. Matt Dumba, Ilya Lyubushkin, I don't know about that 3.25. That's a little expensive. They have this Liam Bichel. He seems like he's pretty good. He'll be sticking around. And then they got Brendan Smith, Cody Ceci coming off. And they got Nils Lundqvist still. I don't know what they want to do with that guy. Paid a first-round pick to get him, and then they really haven't used him at all. So I think their blue line could use some work in the offseason. And then goaltenders, it's the Ott man. He's not going anywhere. But Peter DeBoer might be going somewhere. But I think Jake Oettinger is still one of the best young goaltenders. I don't even know if you can really call him young anymore. He's 26. But he's locked in now, and that's your guy. That's your guy, Jake Oettinger. And I think he's a really good goaltender. It's just the fucking goals dried up, man. I do not put the Dallas losing against Edmonton on Jake Oettinger. It was the offense dried up. And that's pretty much where it stands. And Dallas gonna have some work to do, man. They're great up front. I think they're still pretty deep. We'll see how the contracts play out with Jamie Benn, with Matt Duchene, Granlund, all these guys. Who's coming back? Who's not? And then the Jason Robertson contract will be very interesting. And they also have Mason Marchment, who, if I were them, I'd be doing a lot to try and keep him. He's obviously a warrior, but he's at 4.5. He's probably going to want a bit more than that. 29 years old. Like, ooh, do you commit to that? I don't know. That is all things that'll be answered in the off season. All right, let's touch on some news and notes from around the league. Let's go to Toronto. So Toronto loses Lane Lambert. He is now the head coach of the Seattle Kraken, which sucks. He was a good part of the penalty kill team, I do believe. But sure, off he goes. Good for you. I'm happy that someone else is. Was he not the head coach of the Islanders when they were really something? No. Never mind. But regardless, cool. We'll see if it works in Seattle. They've been. Seattle, the Kraken, they've gone through a lot of coaches, man. Hopefully Lane Lambert can stay for longer than a year. That would be nice, but that sucks to lose him. But the Leafs will find someone else. Not worried about that. Now, there are some possible buyouts incoming here for Toronto, namely David Kampf and possibly Calle Jarnkrok. Now, Calle Jarnkrok, I think the savings would only be like $500,000. I think keep that player. I think he's more useful on the team regular season-wise, which they're going to need help, man. You're going to be losing Marner. You're going to have to fill those goals in. You know, Calle Jarnkrok's the 15 goal scorers out there, so you might as well keep him. David Kampf, yeah, they can move off of him for that amount of money. He's like an okay defensive fourth-line center for like $2.5 million. No spank you. So I would not be shocked to see one or both of them bought out. I'd be a little more shocked if they buy out Calle Jarnkrok. I think he's still a very useful player. He's just not someone you really need in the playoffs, but regular season, he's a utility knife. Like, you can put him in all four lines, all situations. He's not great at anything, but he's not like bad. You know what I mean? So he's useful. I don't know if they should get rid of him. And then the talks about Morgan Riley. Could they buy him out? Will they try and move him? Are they going to force this guy out of Toronto? We'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to see how serious they are about making these drastic changes. And I think Morgan Riley would be a drastic change. Is it needed? Sort of, I guess. Like, it's just that Morgan Riley is like the third or fourth most effective defenseman on the Leafs, and he's the highest paid. And yeah, I just think that money could be used a lot better. I think they could use some more forward help right now, but yeah, Mo is kind of their only really good puck-moving defenseman. OEL is quite good. After that, it's not great, right? So they would probably want to look to get someone that can move a puck, but also is really good defensively. which, sound like, is that not Morgan Riley? Well, no, because he's not really good defensively. He makes a lot of bad mistakes, and I think the Leafs are fucking done with that shit, man. So we might be saying goodbye to Morgan Riley this year. I just hope it doesn't get ugly. I don't want it to get ugly where relationships and bridges are burned and people fucking hate each other at the end of it. I don't want that to happen to Morgan Riley. He's a treasure, and he deserves to be treated properly. I hope they can make something work with Vancouver, where he's from, but, like, who are they bringing back? Like, I don't want Hronik. I don't want, like, the guy that I want is Rasmus Andersson from Calgary. That's who I want, but why would they do that? Why would Calgary do that? Like, they would I don't know. It could be like a cost certainty thing, because I think Rasmus Andersson would make more money than Morgan Riley, and then at least they'd be like, okay, well, at least we're going to get something for him. We're going to get a defenseman back, and he's cost controlled, and there might be something there, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't want Morgan Riley to go, but I understand if he goes, I understand why, So we'll be keeping our eyes on the Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously, and any situations that might be happening with him. Now, in Buffalo news, Bowen Byram and JJ Peterka want out. What else is new? Guys want out of Buffalo. It's not really a shock. It was really weird that they got Byram in the first place. They did not need another young left shot defenseman. So, yeah, obviously he wants to get the hell out of there. Would that be a good fit with Toronto? No, I don't think so. Like, it would be nice to have him on the power play. I think he could work nicely there, but defensively, he's probably worse than Morgan Riley, so I don't know if that would work. JJ Peterka would be sick. Oh my goodness. Like, any team that can pry him away from Buffalo will do very good work. I mean, Buffalo won't get enough value for him. He's a 30-goal scorer on a shitty Buffalo team. So if you put him in a good situation, he could make a great second-line winger, and Toronto could use one of those. So I would love for them to try and get that guy. And there's also Marco Rossi from Minnesota. They're looking to move off of him, which is interesting. He's a young center, got 60 points. Why you want to move off this guy? Well, he wants a lot of money, and he's undersized. He's 5'8", 5'9" maybe. And yeah, he's undersized, didn't do a lot in the playoffs. He was playing fourth line minutes for Minnesota. And the guy, I think he's asking for like $7 or $8 million back. So yeah, Minnesota doesn't want to commit. They're looking to move him. And what could you get for that? Should the Leafs move in on him? No, definitely not. That is not something. They don't need an undersized center. That is not ideal. They need an oversized center, if anything. So I don't think he has connection for the Leafs, but that's a great piece to try and get. For, I don't know, a team up and coming looking to, I don't know, like a team like the Kraken or someone that could use a little more center skill. Pittsburgh would be a great place for Marco Rossi, something like that. So I thought that was really interesting that Marco Rossi was on the trade block. And, I should mention, New York Islanders named Matthew Darche as their new GM. That's cool. Jonathan Toews will return next year. Where is he going to end up? A lot of speculation on Winnipeg, possibly a young up-and-coming team that could use some center leadership. Anaheim could go to any team, man. There's a lot of teams that could use a Jonathan Toews. The Leafs, I would love for them to sign Jonathan Toews, fourth line, league minimum, fourth line center. Come on, Don. And got to shout out the PWHL Minnesota Frost. They win back-to-back Walter Cups. That is awesome. So the first two champions are the Minnesota Frost, back-to-back. Very impressive. So, I think that is everything on my list right here. And there we go, everybody. Let me know, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup Finals? How many games? Who's going to win it? And also, who is going to be the MVP? I think if it is the Florida Panthers that win, it's going to go to Bobrovsky. And if the Edmonton Oilers win, it's going to McDavid. Pretty simple. With Florida, I could also see it going to Barkov. It all depends who comes out this series. I think this is whoever breaks out in this series is going to win the Conn Smythe for their respective team. If Bob plays great, he wins it. If Barkov shuts down the McDavid line and they have minimal goals against or whatever, I could see him winning it if he gets a bunch of points. And McDavid, he's already arguably earned it. He could potentially win it again on a team that doesn't win the Stanley Cup, which might be the first time ever. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I kind of want McDavid to win the cup. I want Canada to win a cup. That would be really cool. I haven't even brought up that thing. Like, that really doesn't matter to me. But I would like Edmonton to win this time around. I don't want to see Connor McDavid go cupless. That's just wrong. Even though I'm not the biggest McDavid fan, I still want him to win. So, and then maybe he'll come to Toronto and win for us here. So that would be really cool. And speaking of really cool, that's you. You are cool for listening to this podcast. And you want to be even more cool and awesome than you already are. Make sure you're reviewing and sharing the podcast around wherever you're listening to it. You can drop a comment on Spotify, wherever. Drop it there. I also upload all these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. You can go over there, subscribe, upload all these episodes. You can drop a comment over there. I will answer any questions about wrestling, video games, or hockey live on the pod. That'd be really cute. And I got a Twitter page where I put up announcements as best as I can. And in terms of what's going on with the podcast this week, I believe I'm going to do a Nintendo Switch 1 retrospective and just glow it up and just give it all the flowers. The Nintendo Switch. The Switch 2 is right around the corner, so let's talk about the old Switch. Let's talk about the old thing. So that should be that. And the WrestleCast, I think Money in the Bank is this weekend, so that's going to be amazing. Have a separate pay-per-view review for that, along with the regular weekly recap as well. So yeah, going to be a busy week for us here at the GX Plus Cast, so just make sure you're hanging out, review the podcast, nice honest review. If you've got any constructive criticism, be my guest, and we'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast.